Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In this video I will be training my horse Winterberry while reading parents' reviews on SSO. I'm actually quite excited to see what parents have to say about Starstable. And I'm sorry for not posting earlier this week. It was Christmas of course, so I spent most of the time just with my family and didn't have time to make a video. So I'm making up for it by making a video today. Even though I would have posted today anyway, but it's fine, you know. So yeah, let's get started. Oh yeah, and I will only be doing this race because it gets the most Euro shillings and I can just do it on repeat. Something I forgot to say in the intro is that I got a new monitor for Christmas, which I'm really happy about. But instead of just recording directly from my laptop, I am now projecting my laptop onto the monitor. So I changed the UI scale to be small, as you might have already noticed, because I think that looks better. So I will just play I will just play with this size UI, and if I don't like it, I will change it later. And you will see that in the next video, but for now I'm playing with a small UI. So I'm going to start reading the parents' reviews, and I basically cannot see where I'm going when I read the reviews, and they're also quite long, so I might struggle a bit. But the first review is by My Pony Store. This user has rated the game to be age 10 and up, and the title is They Just Want Money. Starstable was perfect, with a good storyline and great things, but now this game's horrible. It cares more about the shareholders than the customers. They just get horses out so that you have to buy star coins and they can get more money. They say that there is no quest theme. We've had so many different storylines, but now Starstable has got so many things that are just involved with having to pay. We got one big storyline that people like, and that was when they started. Starstable doesn't know their own characters. In one of their videos, Starstable, when they were updating Lisa, they asked themselves, who is Lisa? It's your own game and you should know. People start to say that Starstable looks like Fortnite, and it's true. The NPCs look like Fortnite skins, and when they updated the Soul Riders and all the characters, they didn't stick to what they were like in the storyline. One of the characters was a rich 16-year-old girl, and now she looks like a 30-year-old motorcyclist. There are several bugs, and Starstable bans you if you report them. There are many people saying that they bought star coins and they paid, but no star coins were added to their account. There are people that lost their horses and things like that. Starstable is telling us to be patient with them, but we have been patient for the past 10 years. They don't care for us, just for the money. That is why they just add horses and not quests. So stop buying star coins, and everything will be normal again. I think this game will be shutting down in a few years. Now, I struggled quite a bit with reading that, but I think it's quite a popular opinion when you're playing SSO to say that SSO is reaching for money, which I get it, because they release horses and people buy star coins because they want to buy the horses. And you could say that that's asking for money, but then again, Starstable needs it to keep the game going, and I get that like the horse releasing to quest releasing ratio is a bit unfair. Like, we don't get a lot of quests and we get a lot of horses, but in my opinion, it's like, if you don't want to buy star coins, then just don't buy it. But it does not it doesn't make your ability to enjoy the game any less. Like, you can enjoy the game with your starter horse. You still have access to pretty much everything else that people with star coins also have, as long as you have Star Rider. And eventually you will have enough star coins to buy a horse. I am, however, really happy that like SSO did try to change it. Like, they added the bazaar, which you can make it so that you can buy horses for cheaper, which is also a really nice thing. But anyway, I am going to be moving on to the next parents review before I just start talking about SSO releasing horses the whole entire video. Although I must say, I am guessing that a lot of those reviews are going to be about Starstable releasing more horses than quests, just because the community is very unhappy with that, even though these are parent reviews. The next review is from Time Within, and this user rates the game to be age 9 and up, and the title is Was Fun, Now It's Not. 5 to 7 years ago, I would have recommended SSO to anyone who likes horses. Now I won't. I've been playing since late 2013 and early 2014. And over the years, I feel like teams behind Starstable have become lazy. Prices of star coins are high and double star coin weekend comes once in a month, unless they decide to not release it, like they did in October. The new horse models are disappointing. Pretty immature teens can be found in pretty much every server. And don't get me started on clubs, or we'll be going through an entire rant. There are also ways to get around the chat system to swear. And on that topic of new chat filter, roleplaying is much more difficult, as a simple bio or roleplay entry is gone in a matter of seconds, replaced with "your message is not approved." The game isn't as fun as it used to be, and it's not a game I would recommend to anyone. So this review was released 2 years ago, and I believe that they might have changed a lot of things since 2 years ago, even though I was also playing 2 years ago, by the way. It's not like I'm just guessing this, but I definitely think that they are releasing double star coins weekends a lot more, and they have been doing it consistently every month. Now, I actually don't know which October they are talking about. I personally don't remember a October in which there wasn't a double star coin weekend, but I do have to agree that there are a lot of people who just always try to get away with saying inappropriate stuff in the chat, and I definitely think that SSO could be changing some things to just solve that problem, because there are young kids who play this game and there are way more people that are doing inappropriate role plays, and as a small kid you can't really filter what is inappropriate and what is not inappropriate, so you might learn things off of a horse game that you originally didn't even know and probably don't want to know in being that age, you know. So I definitely think that Starstable can maybe do something about the chat that to just change it, but I know that SSO has done a lot of things over the years with the chat and changing the chat filter and stuff. So yeah, but I still think that SSO could do a lot of a better job on banning people who do inappropriate stuff, because that just doesn't happen, and that is fun for the little kids that play this game. Now, onto the topic of the new horse models. I know that a lot of people don't like SSO due to the fact that they are updating the horse models, and those people are probably just people who played the game a lot of years ago and don't like that SSO is upgrading horses that have a lot of nostalgia for them, and I get it. But most of the people who hate on SSO for updating horses, the only argument that they have is that it has something to do with nostalgia. And like, I don't mind when people complain about the old horses being updated, because you can still buy the old ones, so like, why would you complain about that? But I do have to agree with the fact that SSO removing the old horses, that I don't get. Like, why would you remove old generations when many people still like those horses? But yeah, in terms of updating the new horse models, I don't get why that would be a problem, due to the fact that SSO has to update them at some point to get it looking with the game. And yeah, just the older models, they don't really fit in anymore, but I do agree that you should still be able to buy them, and don't get why SSO is removing them. And a lot of people are also very unhappy with their graphics update, because it looks like Fortnite, and I have to say, yes, it does kind of look like Fortnite, but on the other hand, SSO needs to update its graphics for new people to see SSO as a game that they enjoy playing. Because I don't know if you have seen this, probably not, because a lot of people are quite older, but if you look at new TV shows like Paw Patrol and stuff, it's all updated to look a lot better than when we used to watch those shows. And SSO also needs to do that, because otherwise those kids who are watching shows on TV that look a lot better than a video game are not going to play the video game. So SSO needs to update these graphics, even if that results in SSO looking a lot like Fortnite, which I do kind of have to agree on. It does look a little bit like Fortnite, but SSO has a completely different theme than Fortnite and is not a shooter game at all, so I don't see the point in comparing SSO to Fortnite, seeing as those are totally different games. And this person also says that clubs are not a good thing in SSO, seeing as they indicated that they were going to have a huge rant about clubs. In my experience, clubs have always had a positive influence on me, and because it's just a great way to make friends. And if something inappropriate happens in the club, it's totally not your business unless you are the club owner, and you can usually just leave the club if some weird things are happening. There's nothing stopping you from leaving the club, and I don't think that SSO has a lot of influence on what happens in clubs, seeing as nowadays a lot of the clubs are mainly focused on different platforms than SSO. Like, a lot of clubs communicate through Discord, and SSO has no influence on what happens in Discord, you know. So a lot of the problems that clubs have are not SSO's fault, in my opinion. The next review that I have is a review by D2022. This user also rates the game for ages 9 and up. Warning: addictive. This game is designed to enrapture children with beautiful graphics and lots of experience add-ons that are very hard for kids to resist. Some activities in the game can be paused, and it is focused on maintaining control of the child's attention for the goal of making money. I wish designers would be more balanced between making money and creating something good for children. Now, I get that SSO can be quite addicting to young children, seeing as it's a video game. A lot of children get addicted to video games. If your child is not capable of spending time on other things than a video game when needed, I don't think that your child should be playing SSO in the first place. Like, when you are playing SSO and something important comes up, you need to be able to stop playing the game. And as a parent, I think that it's great to check on your kid and see if your kid is capable of doing that. Because if your kid plays a game and is going to focus their whole entire life around playing that game, it's fine, but you should be able to stop when needed. And as far as getting addicted to Starstable goes, I think that a lot of the time you can just stop playing at any time. Like, sure, there are some quests where the cutscenes take a lot of time to pass, so you would be sitting for like a minute staring at your screen, and you can pause cutscenes, I know that. But as far as races go, you can actually pause a race by pressing O. Like this. Now, my timer was paused, so to a certain matter you can actually pause the game, you just can't pause quests. You can actually kind of pause quests, because when you have a quest and you hand it in, you can just come back to the quest later to talk with the person again. Unless you're doing the Soul Rider quest. I do agree with the fact that these Soul Rider quests, they take a lot of time, and you can hardly pause those, that I have to agree on. But overall, I don't think that SSO is designed in a bad way or in an addicting way. I think that SSO is a game you can play at any time, and you can just get off the game again whenever is needed. Next review is by Lily W. And this user is saying that Starstable is for 18 and up, which is quite old, especially considering that this game is qualified as a kid game. And the title is Avoid Hackers Sell Personal Info, Sex, Violence and Racism. This game is 18 plus and is dangerous. Now, let's talk about the most dangerous part of starstableonline: hackers. There are so many hackers in the game that can get personal information of the secure database. They steal your account and your personal information and sell it. Not safe for kids. Let's talk about language and abuse on the game. The amount of sex and violence and racism, homophobia on the game is ridiculous. Don't expose your kid to this kind of environment. Let's talk about what SSO does to this: nothing. Now, personally, I have no experience with people being inappropriate in this game. However, I don't know what it's like on the other servers. I don't think that SSO has any hackers that get personal information. Most of the people that get hacked share their information with other people, which is why they most likely got hacked. I have never seen anyone gotten hacked by someone that they didn't know, like most of the time it's like, oh yeah, my friend did it and blah blah blah, but like people genuinely don't get personal information, I believe. Like I don't think that there's any way that people can get your personal information unless you share it with others, and I definitely don't think that there are any hackers in SSO yet. Well, there might be people that are like, oh yeah, I will give you star coins if you share me my personal information, which young kids might be prone to give their personal information for star coins. So maybe like if you have a very young child, maybe just watch it so that they don't share personal information. But you should never share your personal information online, because you might get hacked, and SSO won't do anything if you get hacked, because usually if you share your own personal information, it's mostly your fault, so SSO doesn't really do anything about it, I believe. Next one is by ME. This user rates Starstable to be a game for 5 and up, and the title is Ruined the Character Looks. I really dislike Starstable now that they've changed the looks of the characters to look really realistic and not even attractive realistic. I prefer it how it was before, and I hope it's prettier faces and body, or goes back to how it used to be. Now, this user posted this 1 year ago, which means that the character update was quite recent, and I definitely think that around the time that the new characters got updated, a lot of people were really disappointed with how the characters looked and thought that they were really different from the old characters. Personally, I have gotten used to my new character by now, and I have gotten to really like the new characters. Sometimes I do see clips of old characters and I was like, oh yeah, I miss how it used to was, but that's just nostalgia, and it's not that I hate these new characters, it's just that they're different and you definitely do need to get used to it. But as in that they are not really attractive, I don't really think. Like, I don't think that they're attractive and I want to date my character, of course, but I think generally people say that because there are more body types and stuff, and it's not just a really skinny stick-like figure that we were before. Because compared to our old characters were like really skinny. I definitely don't think that our new characters are ugly, and I definitely don't think that you need to stop playing SSO because of our new characters. I just think that a lot of people were very negative about the new characters during that time because they were new and it just looked very bland and stuff. And yeah, SSO definitely needed to adjust a lot of things from the data from the beta testing, and we basically only saw bugs. So when the new characters came out, a lot of people were really negative, but I think that has changed. What is it with my racing today? But yeah, I don't think that people see the new characters in a negative way anymore. I definitely think that people have gotten to be more positive and have learned to like the new characters, because in my opinion, yes, our old characters hold a lot of nostalgia, and I wouldn't mind it if they went back to those characters just because they have a lot of nostalgia. But our new characters definitely match the game better, and yeah, I just think that our new characters are an update that needed to be there in order for a lot of people to continue enjoying the game, and also for new people to come, because our old characters did not match the rest of the game, in my opinion. Like, I definitely think that it's all a lot more cohesive now. So the next review is quite long, so I'm probably going to be failing a bunch of races, but it is by Mackenzie B and it's aged 9 and up. I'm not one to write reviews, but I feel as if speaking my opinion on this game right now is important, especially because I played a huge part of my childhood. As of recently, I started playing Starstable again after 5 years, and all I can say is that the game is going downhill fast, and I don't see a future for it. The company is very money hungry and releases multiple horses a month, including higher star coin prices and so many double star coins. I started playing in 2014 and I remember story quests were a huge priority. The game felt so immersive as well, and the community was amazing. There was so much thought and care put into the game back then. First releases felt genuinely special. Only a new horse coming out either every 6 months to a year, including double star coins. Only had those deals for holidays. Now it's a monthly thing. really trying to run their community's pockets dry. It's all the Starstable company can care about. Many players have voiced their opinion on this as well, and we are never heard. There's rarely any development in this game story-wise. The game feels cold and empty in a way, the new horses being popped out left and right for the revenue. It feels like it's just a game to collect horses like Pokemon. Nothing special anymore. The company doesn't listen to any feedback regarding this and just tells players to take a break from the game if they don't like it. If you were looking for a horse game and you asked me about it 8 years ago, I would highly recommend Starstable. Right now, this game is just something I can't recommend at all. This is like they said in their review, this is a opinion that many people have, and I get that Starstable releases a lot of horses now, but I don't think that double Starcoin weekend is a bad thing, because if anything it makes it so that people that want to buy Starcoins have a better chance at affording it, because Starcoins are very expensive in my opinion, and double Starcoins does actually make it a bit better, because if you buy Starcoins not during double weekend, you're basically wasting your money in my opinion, because you're not getting what you're paying for at all. So I definitely don't think that a lot of double Starcoins are a bad thing. However, about the story quests, in my opinion, it's going to be really obvious that when the game has just been released for 3 years, like they mentioned 2014, that would mean that SSO was 3 years old. It's obvious that you're going to be focusing more on the quests when your game has just been released, because there's a lot less content for people who have just started playing the game. So to keep players engaged, you would need to release more content. If you start playing SSO today, you would have so many quests, like it would take you nearly a week to complete all of them. There's so much content now. So in my opinion, it is no surprise that SSO is releasing less quests, because there's already a lot of content, so they aren't pressured as much. But I definitely do think that they need to start releasing more quests, because as a late game player, there's not a lot that I can do. Like I can train my horse and I can make outfits and stuff, but as there's no quests for me to do. And I definitely get why people think that there need to be more quests, but I don't really think that you can compare it to a time where SSO had just been released, because they needed to make content for the game to be liked. If you start playing a game and you finish all of the content within an hour, then you aren't going to be engaged to play it for any longer. So it was definitely a priority back then just for the game's development, and nowadays I think that quests are less of a priority, because new players are already staying engaged because they have so much content to look forward to. Recently Starstable has been listening more to the community, but definitely not when it comes to releasing horses and Starcoin prices. They're still getting money from people paying for Starcoins, so there's no reason why they would change their way of making the game, just because the community is unhappy with it, which there's still a very liked game, even though they are seen as a game that just steals your money. People are actually spending their money, so they have no evidence of that. That one is a more positive one. These have been very negative, but I'm happy to end it on a more positive one. This one is by Trioxide, and this user rates the game for 13 and up. The title is Good Experience, Ambivalent Feelings about the Community though. I have been playing this game for 1.5 years, and all I can say it is a really good game with good messages. Recommended age-wise above 13 years because of the community and maturity-wise. The support is helpful in my experience. Prices could be high for someone, but so-called lifetime star rider is really worth the money. So if your kid is really dedicated about the game, I'd recommend that. If they get bored of it despite inactivity, after years they could hit up the game again and continue playing with it. The only cons I can bring up is the side of the community that is pretty toxic. That's one thing that could not be controlled by the game. I see so many silly arguments in the chat, children bullying other children, etc. So I could recommend to monitor the kiddo if they are okay with the game. Do they experience any bad side of the chat or having good or bad time with the community. Support is key for sure. The questline can be really interesting, sometimes boring, but the main questline has topics that children deal with in these ages. Daily quests can be monotone, but everyone can find their fun in them, in my opinion at least. The ambassadors are those who are presenting the community, and game masters are really nice and interactive with the other players, and they help with pleasure. The platforms they use are interactive too. I experience kindness towards myself. I would say give it a try. Now, like this person said, community is quite toxic, which I've talked about way too many times now. Like, SSO doesn't really have any major issues, it's just a community that is making things a major issue because, like I said with the Starcoin thing, they're still receiving money. Why should they see it as an issue? As long as they're still receiving money, they're not gonna see releasing horses as a bad thing. They're not gonna see adding double Starcoin weekends as a bad thing, you know? Which in my opinion, it is not. Like, they could change it, sure, but they are not experiencing any problems with it. And this person hasn't been playing for all that long, but like they said, the story quests can be quite fun for some people, even though the daily quests might not be, which I can agree with. Daily quests are sometimes quite boring, especially if you're doing reputation. Your reputation quest, it's just doing the same quest every day just so that you can release a new quest. I definitely think that SSO could change that, but they recently released the Trailblazer track, which basically made it so that you would get rewarded for doing your reputation. So definitely think that that was a good thing that they added. With the chats, sure, they can change it so that inappropriate stuff can get filtered out, but all of the stuff that happens outside SSO, like I said before, they're not going to be able to control that. If there is something toxic about a player going around on Instagram, they can't control that because they most likely won't see it. SSO is on a lot of platforms, and the community is quite toxic on a lot of those platforms, so would have to change a lot of things to keep every single platform accounted for, but I definitely think that they need to change the chat filter or something, because a lot of people are saying that SSO has very immature players, which is true. A lot of players misuse a lot of information that they see on the internet, and I definitely think that SSO could change the chat filter to reduce that. Alright guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was just me ranting about SSO a lot because a lot of the reviews were negative. I was basically just expecting that, but I hope you guys enjoyed me ranting and trained along with me, because if you watched this video, well, that would be pretty impressive, seeing as though I just did the same thing over and over again, so it would be very fun to watch. But I hope you trained along with me, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye!